Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Friday. Yeah, I'm actually back. My face is kind of cleared up, so that's good. But here's what we got on the plate for today, right? So today was actually another nice day. Miners were up and everything else. We'll take a look at what's going on there. We'll talk about Bitcoin price, miners price action as well. We'll talk about Cleanspark's possibility of a new mining site. This is thanks to Rex Finance. He was able to provide this information for us. And then we have also BTC ETFs buying like crazy right now. We also have more bullish news for Bitcoin a little bit. We'll look at all that and everything else. We'll get into Q&A as always, but you guys know the drill here, right? Not financial advice, return only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And Bitcoin has been on a nice little tear here. If we look at the chart here on Bitcoin, we've been going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're in the 8th day on Saturday now, more or less. Bitcoin's still going up, so we've had a nice run up here. It's been a nice week on Bitcoin right now. If we look at Bitcoin here on the weekly here, we can see that we are up right now approximately 11.67%. Pretty good here. So it's going to be a good week for Bitcoin and miners as well. Miners have done double that for the most part from what I've been seeing here recently. But today Bitcoin was up much higher. It got up to a high of approximately 95,000, almost 96, 95,976. It did come down and closed at 94,708. Still good though. We got a green day, which is great. Miners for the most part were also in the green today, which was nice. Markets were also in the green here. So things are starting to kind of cool off a little bit and go in the green for us, which is nice. And we've been on a nice rally for Bitcoin as it is. So we'll take it anytime we can get a green day. It was good. It didn't start out that way. We were in the red in the beginning, but then we pulled back up. So nonetheless, we are still good. Bitfarms, again, nicely done here, up to $1.03 now. It was up just almost 1% here. It's now battling with the 50-day simple moving average here on the line. You can see that. So a nice rebound. And if you guys were able to buy at 63 cents, congrats there. I would have loved to have been buying, but as you guys know, Uncle Sam needed his money first. It is what it is, so we'll buy later on. Hopefully we don't go too high too fast, if anything. BitTR was up 1.25%, also battling with the 50-day moving average. It looks like it's above it right now. Cypher was up 2.67%. It's getting close to the 50-day moving average on that one. Cleanspark was up $1.69 here a little bit. It was up higher, around 4% on the day. Then it came back down as kind of Bitcoin price was coming down towards the end of the day. And then finally came back up. But they're way above the 50-day simple moving average, which is nice. CORZ was up nice today, 10.36%. Best performer here out of the miners right now. And it's getting close to the 50-day simple moving average as well. Hive was up 4.07%. Again, getting close to the 50-day simple moving average on this one. HUT 8, same thing, 3.88% up on the day, getting close again to that 50-day simple moving average. Everybody's getting close to it. IREN, lagging a little bit here right now, up 3.81%, still quite a ways away from the 50-day simple moving average, which is around 743 or so. Mara was up a little bit today, 2% as well. It's above the 50-day moving average. Riot was down for some reason, down 0.2. So it got close to the 50-day, but fell back down. Wolf was down 1.32%. It got close to the 50-day as well, but it pulled back down afterwards. Galaxy was up 5.24%. That thing is above all the moving averages. It's above the 200, the 100, the 50. It's been on a nice rocket ship here. Man, let's take a look at how far it's come up here from the bottom here recently. So it bottomed out here on the 8th, and we're up 55% on that one. And we are, how far away are we from getting to the 500 mark again? From here, going up to the 500 some odd mark, the top, we're 46% more than we had to go, basically. So that's what it looks like on that one. All right, Galaxy was down a little bit. What else do we have here? Small miners were up for the most part, except for Argo. Argo was down. Digihost was up the most, 11.65%. Well, actually, Mawson was up 30% for some reason today. Not sure what happened there. See if there's any kind of news happening from them. Mawson Infrastructure Group Inc. This is April 15th. Nothing new here on that one. So that's kind of interesting. That one was up quite a bit here. Probably just catching a little bit of a bounce on it because it has been beaten down tremendously. And then Digihost was up nicely as well. But yeah, it had a huge candle here on Thursday. No, when was this? Monday of this week. Had a huge candle up and then down. So, and then ETFs were up nicely today, 2%, 3% on WGMI. So that was a good day. All right, we'll take any of those we can get. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin here for the month of April really quick, which is right here. It's up 14.56%. Love seeing that. The ETFs are also buying like crazy here recently. We've had pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight days of positive inflows. We're well above, 2.3 billion, I think. We're probably closer to like 2.5 billion in inflows. So fun fact, spot Bitcoin ETFs have purchased almost 25,000 BTC over the last 3 days worth 2.3 billion. This is not including the rest of the days in here. So we're probably even closer, even higher than that as it is right now. Love seeing that as well. And that's why we're seeing the price of Bitcoin going up. A lot of adoption happening. That's all great news. All right, let's take a look at our main story here right now, which is going to be on Cleanspark. And this is thanks to Rex Finance. He provided this. I asked him for the source on this, and he provided it. So thank you, Rex, for doing that. I dove much deeper into this, but here's the story that we have here. So Bitcoin mine proposed for Mountain City. This is in Tennessee, pretty close to the border of, I believe, North Carolina there. But we'll take a look at it, the story here, and what's going on here. So Cleanspark Chief Operating Officer Scott Garrison left. This is this gentleman right there. Spoke to the Mountain City Planning Commission at the April 24th meeting. This is, I believe, their second meeting that they've had here. A Bitcoin data center would be coming to Mountain City in a few months, as Mountain City Planning Board members were impressed following an April 24th presentation. Cleanspark Chief Operating Officer Scott Garrison told the Planning Board he's awaiting approval from the town before buying the land. The land that they do have there, I was able to find it here. We'll talk about that in a second here. The Planning Board gave preliminary approval in March. Garrison told the board at that meeting that Cleanspark could build in 2 months. So if they buy the site and, you know, I mean, it's a cookie cutter building basically. It is going to be for immersion cooling. We know that also. But yeah, it's going to be pretty simple to build. You build a long, kind of like what we've seen with Riot, right? In their buildings that they were building out. I think that's probably going to be the same kind of setup there as well. Maybe a little bit different, but that's kind of what I'm thinking there. Okay, let's see. The proposal would be to build on a flat agricultural 50.48 acre parcel of land. The address is 178 Rainbow Road, next to Longhorn Auction. According to Tennessee Comptroller of the Treasury, the land is owned by It's His LLC. Love the name of that LLC, It's His LLC. And Steve Brown of Zionville, North Carolina, and the land market value is $367,000. I was able to find this also on Zillow, so we at least have a parcel layout of how this looks, and we'll take a look at that in a second here as well. Since Cleanspark didn't have a complete site plan available, the planning board decided not to give full approval. So we're going to probably have to wait until the May meeting sometime. The planning board mulled giving authority to Corey Haggard, a community planner with the 1st Tennessee Development District, to give his okay when he received the complete site plan, but decided to wait until its May 22nd meeting to act. So we got to wait until May there. Garrison said that they need TVA to approve the energy plan, which Mountain Electric General Manager Rodney Metcalf said could come mid-May as well. So if they get that mid-May, then they would probably have a plan for the city to present. Metcalf told the planning board the Parkdale plant was their biggest revenue source, and he didn't feel like another manufacturing plant would come to the area, so having Cleanspark become a huge electricity consumer can help the area avoid drastic rate increases. So again, Cleanspark's going to be helping out the community there, as they always do, which is nice to see. Garrison talked about how Cleanspark is changing rural communities, not only through job creation, but also philanthropic giving, which they do. And I love about that, what they do there. We changed labs, Garrison said, mentioning their biggest data center in Centersville, Georgia, and the impact it's had on the community. There's kids living in cars, now buying their first house, so that's awesome to hear. And Garrison said that initially they're looking at employing 12 people, saying those are top dollar jobs that don't require a college degree. If Cleanspark builds a repair shop at the site, that could mean more jobs. So that would be even great there. If you can plug in your Xbox, we'll teach you how to work, Garrison said. Yeah, I mean, plugging in miners is pretty simple. Power cord, Ethernet cord, and you're off to the races, right? So it's pretty simple thing to do. One of the major concerns was sound, as cooling fans and crypto mining sites can cause excessive noise, which is true, and the area that we're going to take a look at does have residential around it. So going with immersion cooling is actually a good way to go. Garrison said this won't be a problem, as the latest digital mining technology using tanks of oil eliminates the need for cooling fans. Garrison said the noise created is equivalent to traffic on US 421 and the food line parking lot across the site. We'll bring the latest and greatest and quietest, Garrison said, on of the equipment, so immersion cooling there. Garrison assured the oil used to cool the computers is safe, saying you can dip your fingers in it and put it in your mouth. Basically, mineral sea oil is what they're going to be using. While disappointed there wasn't a full site plan ready to approve, Mayor Jerry Jordan said he was excited and couldn't wait to approve the site plan. So this might be pretty much a done deal for the most part. At least right now it looks like. I would give it a 95% chance of being a done deal, unless something drastic happens here in the meantime. But here's what we got. Here's where the site is. So the site that they're talking about here is, here's Longhorn Auction, right? And I believe it is this site kind of over here, all of this site here. The interesting part here, as part of this facility, you have high power lines running through it. Here's a power line right there. You can see it. You can also see another one right there, right? So you got high voltage lines going through it. There's some more, where did I see it? Right there, right? You can see those two stacks a little bit here, maybe. If I zoom this in, you can see it. There it is. And then you got also another one there, and it all goes down to this substation over here, right there. There's that substation for the electricity. So that's part of the reason why I think they're looking for this site, is because they have this huge electricity potential there that could feed into them directly, which would be kind of nice. The other interesting part of this, if we look at it here, here's a parcel, right? 367,000. It shows it right there. 367,000. If you can see that, that's as close as I can zoom in. But it says 367,000 on Zillow, and that parcel, as if I can show you guys the lines here. Unfortunately, I can't make it any larger. I don't think the map here, but it does go up to that auction place here, and it does go all the way back here. This is 50 acres here right now. And I was trying to figure out how much could they actually put in there on the 50 acre site. So I went into, where did I go? I went here, right, to figure out, I thought it was like 15 to maybe 20 megawatts that their Norcross facility in Georgia has, and they have immersion cooling at that facility. And it's saying here 20 megawatts, so I think that's what they have there. I don't think they've increased that at all, but that is only approximately, here's the facility in Norcross, right? You can see that. You got the cooling towers on the sides here. You got what are these things called? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Transformers right there. And this sits on approximately 7 acres of land, more or less. Based on that, I mean, you got a lot of parking lot area here. I think the building itself maybe takes up, probably less than 60%, but I'm going with 60% just as a comparison on what they have in there. So if they have 20 megawatts in here at 60%, I'm guessing, based on this, right, it's 7 acres here of land for it. I'm guessing that if they do put anything in here, into, where is it at? Mawson City, here we go. On this site over here, that it would be somewhere like 60% of the property could possibly be put to use for Bitcoin mining. So I calculated the actual, of the 50 acres was the 60% of that, and then divided that by what they have in Norcross, right, the 20 megawatts, and how much we could get. And I'm estimating somewhere between 100 and 120. Maybe they could get even more, 150, maybe 200 even. I'm just going kind of conservative on the numbers here. And based on my numbers, if we look at them here, which is going to be right there, that would represent, if we go with 120 megawatts available to them, could be more, could be less, I don't know exactly, but I'm just kind of ballparking it that 120 would be feasible there. And if they put in the latest generation miners from Bitmain, which are here, which are the current ones. Now, by the time they build out and everything else, we could see a newer generation of the immersion cooling miners here. These are 300 terahash at 4,050 watts. That gets us 4,050 watts here, kilowatts per hour. Total miners that they could put in there, 23,000 at 300 terahash. That would get them approximately 7 exahash of mining power there, if it's 120, right? If we go up to, let's just go up to 200.2, well, at that point we're looking at about another 11.5. So if they get the 7, add that to the 56 that they're supposed to get already, that gets us to, what is that going to be? To 63, right? And if they have 11, that would get us to approximately 68 exahash, possibly by the end of this year, if they can build out fast enough for it. So that's going to be a lot of growth here still. And I love it. I love seeing that. But these are just kind of rough numbers right now. We don't know. It could be, only 100 megawatts that they get there, which would be almost 6 exahash. So that would still get them to about 62 exahash, maybe by the end of the year sometime. Plus, if they also upgrade some of their older machines, right? We talked about that in a previous video. Well, that could get them even higher. They could get them closer to like 70 exahash, I think, something like that. So there's definitely a lot of potential growth here still with Cleanspark, which is nice to see. And they've been doing a really good job here of growing their revenues and everything else and their hash rate over the last year, even you could say last 3 years even. From where they started out being 100 petahash and being at 42 exahash right now, getting to 56, and then beyond that, it looks like they're planning on that already. It's tremendous growth here. We'll see. This could possibly make them the top miner here in the United States, depending where Marathon goes. Marathon has been kind of quiet as far as what they're doing with all their stuff and what their growth potential is going to be going forward. So we'll see. Maybe they can overtake Marathon as the highest hash rate out of these companies. That would put them in number 1 spot. Right now, they're number 2 after tomorrow. So they're definitely gunning for the number 1 spot here. It'll be interesting. Current quarter, I have them at about 182 million, which is for the quarter that ended in March. It's a nice improvement over where they were in Q1. For them, it was our Q4. That was 162 million, so a 20 million increase in that, while Bitcoin was coming down, which is really nice, right? Their hash rate has grown, which has been helping out. Uptime has been also great. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they provide their quarterly results. Can they actually get a positive EPS, not including the FSB stuff in there, because the FSB is going to definitely draw them down, but can they get at least cash-based wise, can they actually get a positive EPS? That's the questionable part here. They've stated before that that's kind of their target. That's where they want to get to, which would be great. The other one that's going to be cash flow positive or positive EPS, should be at least positive EPS, is IREN. Everybody else is, I'm doubting that they're going to be, EPS positive at this point. A lot of these guys are going to be down, even if not including FASB, right? If you include FASB, everybody's going to be down here that has a HODL position. All right, but that is it. That is all I got for you guys. Nice little Friday stream. We'll see. We'll see what happens next week. We got the weekend, so not much is going to be happening. Bitcoin price could be anywhere. But as always, spreadsheets, I'll provide those to the Patreon members. I'll put those out probably tomorrow sometime, or maybe even do that tonight if I have time. And then we'll get into on Sunday as far as what's going on with Bitcoin and how did Bitcoin do against Bitcoin miners and anything else that's important to talk about. We'll talk about it at that point. But yeah, we're getting close to, that's the other part I want to talk to you guys about, is the quarterly results on the miners is when they're reporting. I'm starting a little clock here, a countdown clock on these guys, and here it is. So we got Riot reporting May 1st at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, so we're about 5 days and 16 hours away from that. CORZ reporting May 7th, so we're 11 days, 17 hours. Hut 8 is reporting on May 8th at 8:30 a.m., so we're 12 days away, 9 hours. And Mara is reporting May 8th as well at 5 p.m. These are the ones that have reported their dates, so we're still waiting on the other guys to report. But we'll count down to those. It'll be interesting to see what everybody provides and how they actually did for Q4 with FSB and without FSB. So we'll look at all that as always. All right, but that's it. Let's get into Q&A, see what you guys have to say, and we'll call it a day. So let's get into it. Bitcoin's still up a little bit here on the day, so that's nice. And as always, if you guys could preface the questions with a question mark, I'm going to work my way up as always and work my way down a little bit here. Let's see. Covered those questions already in the comments. Okay, Martin, how you doing? Thomas says, never been able to catch your lives bullish sitting on 20,000 shares. Of which company are you sitting on? That's awesome. But thanks for joining. Yeah, love having you here. All right. Question: how can GNS market cap be only 26 million when their BTC holding is 40 million? Yeah, sometimes these guys do not get value the way that they should be. We can look at that also. I was going to pull this up, but got sideswiped a little bit here by Cleanspark here. But here, check this out. This is the latest data that I have on the miners and their net asset value, MNAV, market to net asset value. And we can see here that BitDeer is getting quite a bit of a premium there. They're 5.64 MNAV, Bitfarms 0.96, so they're still below that. Cypher 1.62, a little bit of a premium on that one. Cleanspark 1.14, CORZ negative. Hive is 0.73. Hut 8 is 1.14. Marathon is 1.11, and Riot is 0.82. So you can see how that affects even the big guys here. So not sure exactly who you were talking about there. Let's see, where's my question? Q&A. What was that? GNS. So I'm not sure what they do, but if they're holding, $40 million worth of Bitcoin, there's probably a reason for it. They're being undervalued, and we're seeing that also with some of the other miners. as well. But yeah, so that's my take on it right now. All right, let's see. Question: IREN has B200s on order. Does this mean they have customers? They probably have customers. Oh, they're getting revenue for their HPC side of the business right now as it is. They're generating about 2.3 million, last reported at least. We'll see how much that has increased over the quarter. So they're getting revenue from that, and they are building out a small data center for that as well at their site. So they do have some customers for it, but it's nothing earth-shattering right now. All right. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Daz Market says, good evening, Seb. Good evening to you as well. I'm now a proud owner of over 200 shares of Cleanspark. Thanks for all you do. I've been grinding on X. Nice. That's awesome. All right. Is Cleanspark the best buy in the market for miners? They're one of the best ones as far as operations, growth, and things like that. Right. So valuation-wise, let's take a look at that. We can take a look at that as well. I got that here. So let's take a look at this. This is the enterprise value to exahash value on these guys. And here it is. This is updated as of today. We can see Cleanspark is still, for future hash rate growth, only being valued 37 million per exahash, right? Pretty low. IREN is valued at 28, so that's less. Bitfarms 24, and Hive is at 11 million. Then you got Riot at 38 million, Hut 8 at 47 million. Even though Hut 8 is going to be divesting themselves of Bitcoin mining business on that, that's all being pushed into American BTC or American BTC. Marathon at 54, that's a little bit better valuation, right? But yeah, based on that exahash right now, I would say Cleanspark is definitely the one that's growing the most, along with IREN. So those two guys would be good buys, I would think. Bitfarms, right? We'll have to wait and see what they do with their sites in Pennsylvania there from Stronghold. Can they get those things turned around and used for HPCI potentially? That could boost the stock that way. Hive doesn't have operations in the United States for the most part. They're in Canada, Sweden or Iceland, and then Paraguay and Argentina, I think, is where they're located as far as things are concerned, right? They have also started to be headquartered here, or at least have a presence in the United States for reporting purposes, I believe. So maybe that will help them out, but right now they're the ones that are like the most undervalued, and they have really good growth. But the big thing is for them right now, the cost to mine is pretty high. They need to bring that down, and I think as they increase their hash rate, that should help everything else, all the other costs come down along with it. So that's my thoughts on that. Hopefully that helps a little bit. It's not an easy question to answer, right? I do believe Cleanspark is one of the best, along with a couple other ones. IREN I think is also really good, but they're not being valued properly right now. And then Bitfarms and Hive are questionable, but they're way undervalued as it is right now. All right, let's go back here. Let's see, covered that one. All right, Mara has your 47,000 BTC, not 4,700 BTC, and they mine close to 1,000 BTC a month. Why is marketing not valuing the miner? I think it's because the cost of mining is higher than what it is for Cleanspark or IREN. IREN's the lowest. Cleanspark is probably the second one, and then after that, Mara is further up the chain there. I think that might be the reason for it. They do have a huge hodl, like you said, around 47,000 BTC. And they're mining, last month, what did they mine last month? Was it close to 800 BTC, I think it was? I got to look it up here. There's too many numbers for me to remember everything. But they mined, 808 BTC last month. So they're generating about 68, almost 69 million there in revenue. I'll show you guys the chart here on the data. Yeah, they're not being valued properly for one reason or another. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because of the debt that they have from the convertible notes that they've used to buy Bitcoin, and is that the reason why? I also know that they're one of the most shorted, except for Cleanspark. Cleanspark's the top shorted here out of these guys, so that could be playing into it. But yeah, they definitely should be valued much higher than where they are. It is, at one point, look at this. Their BTC value is 4.5 billion that they have on there, which is 47,531 last reported at the end of March, and their market cap is valued at 5 billion. So you got 500 million just for Bitcoin mining operations. That's ludicrous. That's crazy. It shouldn't be that. It should be much higher than that. But all the miners have been beaten down with Bitcoin price coming down. Now Bitcoin's going up, and the miners are doing like a 2x on what Bitcoin has done here this past week, which is nice to see. Some have done a little bit better than that. Okay, let's go back to questions and answers. All right. Let's see. Price target Cleanspark by 2025. I think Bitcoin can get to like 150, 200,000. We're looking at them doing at least a very bare minimum. They should at least do a 2x from where they are right now, if not more. But that's being very conservative and kind of sandbagging it a little bit too, right? That's kind of what I would think they would at least do. Rex is in the stream. Rex, thanks for coming in. Interesting, Cleanspark has an option to buy an additional 50,000 S21 immersion rigs for 21 per terahash. Okay, that would get them to 63. The deadline to exercise option is July 26. Interesting. I forgot about that. Yeah, that they do have an option there with Bitmain. I would think they might change that to the immersion. You're talking about the immersion rigs right there. 2150. That's actually a pretty good price for it. We can see that the rigs are going for on Bitmain's site. They're going for, well, price is 24.56 per terahash. I would think they would get a better deal on those. Maybe they're looking at the other ones. Let me see, what are these going here? I mean, yeah, these are going for, well, those are 215 terahash. Those are going for $15 per terahash. I would think they would get a better deal if they actually did exercise it, because spot price is 24. At 21, that's not much of a savings there, especially how much they've been buying from Bitmain. So I would think they would probably get that even lower, potentially. That's kind of what I would think, at least. But we'll see. All right, that was a good find, Rex. Getting that. Let's see. Rex says should hear more in their quarterly. Yeah, depending on how many megawatts they can get at the site and Mountain City, whatever it's called. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be some really good growth there. Plus, if they can change out some of the older machines as well for the newer ones, I mean, we're looking at possibly getting to like 70 exahash. Okay, DeFi says, CEP SPAC that will convert into the company Jack is founding, which will hold $4 billion worth of Bitcoin. Is this SPAC undervalued at 300 million market cap? Potentially, depending on how the whole deal goes through. How many shares will there be available at that time? Also at 300 million, but yeah, where did I put that? I put that someplace. Hold on. Let me see if we can find it. I put it into one of my things. Here it is. CEP. CEP had a huge run up here recently. Let's take a look at it on the screen. All right, here's CEP, right? On the news when it came out, it is up huge already as it is. This one from here to the top, it was up approximately 262%. It's now up 190%. Obviously, came up pretty high today again, and it came back down. But let's see if we can find what their market cap is right now on it. Let's see. I want to do financials is what I want to do. Financials. Let's see if this works. Revenue overview. Yeah, market cap 403 million. Does seem a bit low, based on that they're going to have, like you said, about $4 billion of BTC on their balance sheet. But I don't know how that's all going to work out, and specs are always a little bit interesting. I mean, how many shares do they have outstanding? Market cap, let's see here, free float, they're saying only 10 million shares. Okay, 10 million shares, yeah. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see until the spec does actually get finalized and what that actually details. So we'll need to see some, what are those called, S2 filings or something like that, I think, on it. But we'll keep an eye on it, see what's going on there. All right, let's go back here. Not that one. I wanted to go here. All right, let's see. DeFi says, I converted my cipher into Cleanspark and now hold 8,000 shares of Cleanspark. How much are you holding? Mine is also around 8,000 shares. Gosh, I can't remember exactly. I know it's a lot, but yeah, that's awesome. Does retail return to miners, and if so, at what BTC price level? Somebody's returning to miners as it is this week, right? The miners are up more than 20%. Some are even like 30% up this week. Bitcoin's up approximately, 14%, 11% I think it was for the week. 11 to 14%. So miners are outperforming Bitcoin as it is. So somebody's buying in. Is it retail? There's a possibility retail's buying some of that. Could it be also institutions buying? Yeah. But regardless, somebody's buying in, which is nice. All right. Let's see. Talked about that one already. All right. Let's see. Would you buy BTC or miners? I would. I have BTC right now. I would probably buy the miners still. That's kind of my plan, is to buy more miners. The reason I'm still thinking about doing that is because I still believe the miners have a leverage play on Bitcoin, right? Is it going to be the same like we saw last cycle where the miners went from the bottom to the top 70% or 70x like Mara did? I don't know if that's going to happen, but I still think that they will do at least 2x up of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin goes up 50%, the miners should do at least 100%, right? So that's kind of where my belief is in. All right. Roger, question: when Seb streams on Friday, we know the bull run is back on. I've been doing live streams on Fridays now for the past probably, 5-6 weeks, I think. We've gotten into doing that again. You guys enjoy those, so definitely fun. Chris says, Rex, finance bow to Cleanspark #1. Rex, I think, is all in on Cleanspark. He's probably one of the biggest bulls of Cleanspark there is. Let's see. What else we got here? All right, Guy says, I believe BTC will top out at 140,000-ish around July for this cycle. If so, what's your price prediction for Cleanspark? Well, then that's only approximately, 10%? No, it'd be more than that. Maybe like a 15% gain on Bitcoin. So then we're looking at possibly like a 30% gain on Cleanspark, possibly. That's where I would think it would go, but you never know. And that would be a very, very low target, I think. 140-ish to be the top. Like I said before, I think Bitcoin's going much higher than we estimate or think it will go, only because of all the adoption, right? You got Jack Mallers, Cantor working together, Tether. I mean, all these guys are going to be buying up Bitcoin as much as they can as well. You got MicroStrategy doing the same thing. You got even miners doing it. Mara, Riot, others have been buying Bitcoin here. Hut 8. You got states getting close to having a Bitcoin reserve bill also being passed. You got a pretty good person in the SEC maybe. That's going to be a little bit more bullish for crypto and things like that. There's just a lot of adoption happening. I think we're underestimating where things could go, but we'll see. All right. All right. Morton says, previously you thought IREN would do better than Cleanspark without even counting AI HPC potential. What made you think that? No one seems to currently believe that. Their operations, their cost of mining is really good, right? So I thought maybe that was going to be enough. Maybe, and it still might be, right? We're still not done with the cycle here. They could pull a hat trick out from where the sun don't shine, and the stock could really do well, right? We're always one good news story away from a major rally in any one of these stocks. It just takes one good thing, and they could really run. So, based on that, getting to 50 exahash or 52 exahash this year, sometime, we know they're getting to 50 exahash by the end of the first half. That's awesome. That's going to drive revenues up for them. And then getting to 52 sometime later on this year is going to be good also, but it's just their cost to mine. They have the best cost to mine right now. So even without FSB, they don't have a HODL position, but they're getting positive EPS, which some of the other miners are having a hard time doing that right now as it is. So that's why I thought they would get a little bit of maybe a premium there. Guy says, Rex Bossman, you are the best. Please give a price target for Cleanspark if BTC tops out at 114. Rex, where do you think, Rex? Where do you think it's going to be? Do you think Bitcoin will top out at 114? Let's see. Rex, if you own Cleanspark, you sleep on the bed. If you own other miners, you sleep in the basement. All right. Let's see. BTC at 95,000, Cleanspark at $9 per share. What am I missing here? You're not missing anything. All these guys have been beaten down. Not just Cleanspark, but everybody's been beaten down. All right, Bitcoin corrected basically 30%, while the miners corrected 60, 70, 80%, which is just insane. We're also seeing a lot of short interest here. So on a lot of these guys, Cleanspark, Mara, Riot, IREN as well. So let's see. Vic says, if you own Cleanspark this past year, you paid for their jet and every passenger to shave, shower, and poop. Repeat. Oh well. They said it's actually a net positive for them, based on their calculations. So, do you think the Mara is the best long term to hold out of all the miners since the 47,000 BTC HODL? Seems like less risky and also has some upside versus other miners with less HODL and growth. Bitcoin going up obviously is going to help them out. The only question there is, can they get the costs down on mining? Right now, I mean, we can take a look at my estimates here for them, right? They're within 10%, I'm guessing, somewhere around that. But let me see here if I can find where is it at? Miners, institutions, sats, break even, here we go. So here's break even from the Q4 results on these guys. And based on that and extrapolated the data into the last 3 months, so January, February, March, of their operations here. Let me go to the screen here though, so you guys can see it. I got Marathon around $80,000 to break even. That doesn't include share-based compensation, so basically cash expenses, employees, things like that. IREN's at 41,000, half of that, right? Cleanspark's a little higher than that at 62, based on my numbers I can figure out. Maybe I'm off, like I said, 10% up or down on these guys. So it's not exact science, but it's just an extrapolated data from Q4 into basically Q1 on it. And that's kind of where I'm seeing things. So yeah, they need to get that number down, I think, is another portion of that. With Bitcoin being above 80,000 right now, it's not a big deal, but you still want to have those profit margins be better than only being, what would that be? Right now, Bitcoin being at 95,000, you have what, 7% profit margin, something like that. You want that to be much larger than that in order to get a nicer premium on the stock, I think. The HODL definitely helps. Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. That's going to do, it should help him out, but it hasn't really helped him out here recently. So when you look at the rating or the value in Marathon stock and the market cap, 4.9 billion, their HODL is worth 4.5. Their operations are not being valued at all, it seems like. So something's amiss here. All right, back here. All right. Guy says, let's see, BTC target for 2025, 150,000. I think that would be like the low case for 2025. We're not too far away from that right now. Be basically a 50% upside right now. Bitcoin could do more than that. We'll have to wait and see, but I think 150,000 would be like the low side. Defi asks, are you buying any miners? I would be, to be honest. I'm hating that I can't buy right now. As you guys know, I've been buying pretty much all the way up to the end of March, and then April I pretty much stopped because I figured out how much I was going to have to pay Uncle Sam. So I had to hoard money back to be able to do that because I did sell some shares last year of the miners, made profits on those, and I got to pay the profits on that. So it is what it is. But yeah, eventually I'm hoping to maybe within the next month or so I'll be able to start buying again. Let's see. David, question, does Cleanspark already have the miners for the new site? No, they do not. Or do they have to import them from China? Tariffs are going to kill them. Not necessarily. Bitmain has said that they are working on building or making the miners here in the United States. I don't know when the timeline is for that, but if it's going to be later on this year, that'd be great. That's probably by the time that Cleanspark will need to buy these things. So we'll wait. They could also go with another miner. They could go with, maybe they could go with, gosh, what is that? Auradine is another one. They could go with Canon. Canon probably has their stuff made in China as well. But they could also go with maybe BitDeer, possibility, right? So they have options. Let's see. Talked about that one. Okay. Which miners has the most upside from here? I think a lot of these guys actually do. They've been beaten down. I think, with growth-wise operations, I still think Cleanspark, IREN, even Mara. Mara's still doing a lot of good things here. So those are like my top three that I would think would do very well, especially Mara with having a huge HODL position. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think some of the other guys are way undervalued, like Bitfarms, Hive as well, and then the rest as well. I mean, even Cypher, I would say to a certain degree, but that's all based on the enterprise value to exahash value. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Why not go on margin to buy miners? I don't like playing with margin. I'm all straight into the shares. That's it. I don't do margin. I don't do calls, options, or anything like that. Rex got a question here. Are you going to BTC conference in Vegas? I am not, because the BTC conference in Vegas is like a week before I go on vacation with my family, so they're not going to be able to do that. Can't get that much time off work. Let's see. IREN hit a low of $1.02. They are still top performing miner this cycle, up 6x from the bottom. Yeah, they are. If you go to the bottoms, right, where they bottomed out in late December of 2022, and if you even look at just the beginning of January of 2023 to now, IREN is like one of the best performers here. All right. Question, is this a dead cat bounce or a new all-time highs coming? I think it's new all-time highs coming. I think if we had a dead cat bounce, it would have probably started to fall the other way. Right? Look at the news stories that are out there. A lot of adoptions happening here. A lot of new companies being formed to buy as much as they can of Bitcoin as well. So I don't think this is a dead cat bounce. I think this is just a reversal. I think what we had here in the past 3 to 4 months or so has been a correction in Bitcoin like we've seen in the past, and gosh, what's the other word for it? Accumulation. That's basically what we saw here, right? Bitcoin didn't go below 30% and it dropped down from the top. That's great news here. That still leads me to believe that the cycle is on. If we were 40% or more down, I would start to question it, right? Maybe then it would be a dead cat bounce. Roger asks, should we be buying Jack Mallers' new company? That's the one that I don't know, right? Based on the valuations, valued at 400 million, but if they have $4 billion worth of BTC on the books, yeah, they're probably way undervalued. But I don't know how that whole structure is going to work there, how many shares are going to be out, and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't know. All right. Let's see. Your price target for Cleanspark and IREN BTC at 120,000. That's not much from where we are right now. So you could look at maybe a 50% increase from where they are right now, something like that. 30 to 50% increase, I would say. Let's see. Rex, dang, enjoy your vacation with the family. We'll have to find time to meet up eventually. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe next year I'll go to one of those conferences. But yeah, I went to the one in Nashville last year. I met a bunch of great people there. I was hoping to go this year. For some reason, I was thinking it's going to be again in like July or August. I was thinking, well, July I could possibly swing that. But yeah, being so close to the vacation with the family is no bueno. Not good. All right. Let's see here. What makes Jack Mallers' company different versus MSTR? It's pure Bitcoin. MicroStrategy does, I mean, it's mostly pure Bitcoin now as it is, but they do have a company behind it that does generate revenue also that they can do it. But they're also looking to possibly lend it out, becoming a bank maybe, or other things. They're just looking to do everything and anything they can do with Bitcoin to progress it forward. And they have a lot of backers there that have a lot of cash as well, right? Tether. I mean, Tether's like generating $1 billion in revenue a month or a quarter, it seems like. So yeah, they can definitely plow a lot of money into it. All right, what happens to IREN if we learn that the government is buying Bitcoin in a revenue neutral way and also find that IREN has good news regarding customers? Well, IREN doesn't have any HODL position, right? But if the government's buying, that's going to be good news. That's going to drive the price up. And then customers, yeah, if they get, a customer, what did I see here recently? There was something that I saw, who was it? Oh, Google is potentially working with CoreWeave to lease out their GPUs. I don't know how much, right? Does CoreWeave have the capacity to do it? We know that CoreWeave is working with CORZ Scientific, right? CORZ Scientific. Gosh, I'm getting all the names mixed up now. Yeah, CORZ Scientific and CoreWeave, and then we got CoreWeave working with Galaxy, right? Building out sites for them as well. So, I mean, how many? So that leaves us with a couple of hyperscalers that possibly might be interested in the 2 gigawatts, but it's still, I don't know. It'd be great if we find something like that, or if they were able to find a customer such as Microsoft or Amazon or Facebook or even XAI, right? For those sites, but it just all depends on the negotiations and what the hyperscalers are looking for, and what they're willing to offer. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. When do you plan to exit miners, Cleanspark, IREN, and Bitfarms? If Bitcoin price goes up to 150,000, 200,000 by the end of the year, that's kind of where I'm going to probably start exiting out right around that time. If not, we'll have to wait and see if there's going to be a much longer or extended cycle, which I think it might be. So we'll have to. It'll be tough, but we'll keep an eye on it, and I'll keep you guys posted as always. All right. Has your time frame to sell your miners changed, or is this the end of this year? It's still, I'm thinking the end of the year here, depending on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin goes up to 150,000 or 180,000, we have a correction at that point. Maybe I'll sell a large portion of things at that point, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. I don't know. My belief is getting stronger and stronger that we're going to have an extended cycle in Bitcoin. Will that play out that way? Time will only tell, right? So far, this cycle is already completely different from what we've seen in prior cycles. And that just leads me to think that it's going to be a different cycle, a more extended cycle. And we've also have Zach, the CEO of Cleanspark there, thinking it's going to be an extended cycle because of the macros and everything else. But yeah, Let's see. Guy says you have a very polite and humble personality. Thank you for all the videos, Cleansparks. Let's do it in this cycle. You're very welcome, and thank you for those kind remarks. Yeah, anybody that knows me, very non-confrontational. I'll take, I take both sides of the story on both things. I'll listen to everybody out. I have no problem with that. I can give you my opinion, but yeah, I try to stay pretty much middle of the road for the most part. Can Cleanspark overtake Mara in market cap? That's gonna be interesting, right? So if Mara gets fairly valued at, they should be probably valued right now at probably around 8 to 9 billion as it is. They're not being valued that. So can Cleanspark get? If Mara gets fairly valued on the HODL that they have in their operations, then it might be a little tough. But if they're not like they are currently, then Cleanspark has a chance, possibly, if they get to 60, 70 exahash by the end of the year, and depending where Bitcoin price is at. So, yeah, it's not out of the question, but it might be a tough hill to climb at that point. All right, I think that's it. I think we're all caught up to you guys' questions here. So, let's see, we got one more coming in here. Gary has a question here. Let me see. We gotta wait for that to pop in. All right, Gary, with 3 cent energy in Sweetwater for IREN, if they don't get a hyperscaler, is having to use the 2 gigawatts for mining that bad as fallback. They have done well with Childress as only profitable miner. Yeah, that fallback is fine, but the growth is going to be there. It's just going to be delayed. So we're probably looking at sometime end of 2026 at that point for further growth. They're going to be probably kind of capped out here at 52 exahash. Maybe they can increase that a little bit more, but they might be kind of capped out here. So for that whole maybe year, there's not going to be much growth here. But the only thing that would help them, Bitcoin price going up faster than the network hash rate going up, right? So as long as that goes up percentage-wise faster, that'll help them out. They'll be able to generate more revenue because of that. But if Bitcoin's flat and the network hash rate is going up, then they're going to be losing revenue on it, just like any other miner, right? If you're not growing, you're slowly dying, unfortunately. So you got to get that done. All right, that is it. We'll call it a day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll see what happens next week. We'll talk about the miners on Sunday here, how they did this past week, along with Bitcoin, which is going to be a good week. Bitcoin's already up over 10%. Miners are up over 20% as it is. Should be a great one. So we'll cover that and anything else that I find. All right. But have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in, as always. Love you all. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Enjoy it. Bye.